Hello and welcome to OSINT, Fun with Open Source Intelligence, brought to you by Pentester Academy. My name is Jamal Bandakwala and I will be your host for this fun and exciting course. In today's video, we're going to talk about counterintelligence and defending against intelligence gathering. So, as you've seen, information is everywhere and we all give out information. Even when we try and hide information, or even if there's a lack of information, that tells us something. Now, information, while useful, while it is everywhere, it's not always useful, but when you put in the right filters, it can be incredibly useful. And information can be dangerous, so sometimes you do need to spread misinformation. Now, it's important to point out that you control the information you put out there. And this is key because this means you get to control what people can find out about you. You get to control your story. And if you use the technologies mentioned throughout, including the Google custom searches, you can see what information you're putting out there. And you can see what others can see about you as well. Now, one counter-intel method for you and your organization is you could fake the metadata on the documents that are publicly available or that might be available to different people, both internally and externally. So the key here is to fake it, but still keep it somewhat believable. So don't say Windows 3.1, but do keep it as somewhat believable. If it's believable, it can muddy the information on what groups or people gathering intelligence about you actually see. Another thing to do is consider creating your own list of fake LinkedIn and other profiles. Think about Robin Sage and think about the exercise we did in our first exercise. So consider building those sorts of things, both for looking at your competition and also to change the story a bit if you must. Another thing you may want to consider is fake or test job postings to see who is interested in you. You can also use this to monitor your competition's job postings and employee lists for technologies that they're using. This is also useful, and you may also want to consider creating honey traps to see if you have an information leak. If you've got people within your organization or within your circle who are either intentionally or unknowingly leaking out information that they shouldn't be. And you can do this by seeding these profiles with fake project names and fake technology names that sound like they may be internal projects. You should consider monitoring your social media accounts, both the official ones and your fake ones, to look for unique followers. Why are these people suddenly interested in you? Where are they coming from? And what are they after? Are they interested in some big project you've worked on or someone has worked on is mentioned there? You can consider carefully selected stories and leaks and put them out on your social media profiles. Now, this last one's a gray area, so do be careful and check with your legal department if you need to. Another thing you may want to consider doing is setting up multiple non-existent DNS entries. This helps defend against DNS zone transfer attempts, and there shouldn't be many. So if you do start seeing a spike in these, you know something is not quite right and needs further investigation. Offensive Countermeasures is a great book. I do recommend this. They do build on a number of legal ways you can do things like this, including the DNS entries one just mentioned. But do go through it. It is recommended. So we've talked about countermeasures. How do you defend against something like this? Well, user education for one. While we talk about user education, you have to make sure users know what kind of information they're putting out there. They have to understand how they're connecting all these things. And they've got to realize that an email address can still be tied to a real person. Their usernames and email addresses, they can be linked together. And they've also got to think about who they're connecting with. Why are recruiters or certain people suddenly interested in them? So remember, trust but verify where possible that a person is who they say they are. Think of Robin Sage. And remember, identities can and do get hijacked. Another thing you may want to consider from a defensive point of view is scrubbing the metadata on certain documents. So when people run them through tools like we've mentioned, like the FOCA and stuff, they can't find anything. Also consider what information your senior personnel are giving out. Are they talking about the conferences they're going to? What locations they're going to? Who are they meeting up with? Dates they're traveling? Now, you have to realize with your senior execs, senior management, and certain senior people, they have to, or they may need to give out some of this information, but at least keep an eye on what information is going out, and if you know what's going out, you can come up with a strategy to deal with any unusual activity because of that. And that's all time we have for now. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video.